only do you have like, oh, well, we don't know, we're going to play an arbitration for our top pitcher in school ball. He gets the $30 million. You go and get Valdez, who's 32 years old, and you pay 3 years, $115. Now you have a legitimate 1-2 punch and still have Flaherty in that lineup as well. If you're looking at a move singularly that I didn't expect to happen here and loved it, Detroit's move to get Framber Valdez, sensational for me.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The expectations were big for this team coming into this season. They've struggled to live up to them. When you think about the 4 losses for Purdue, they've really felt ugly. Iowa State smashed this team in their building. They dropped the game to UCLA and followed it up by losing at home to Illinois.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it. Yeah. Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on an island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers' record was better, but he's still James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 officially underway, and yes, the Cognizant's going to take place this week here. Maybe Joe Ranieri can get out the sticks here and place in there and get his tour card in that field eligible. What would you place yourself at, Joe? 100 to 1, 120 to 1? What would your odds be in this tournament?
That's easy, Donnie. Yeah, no, it'd be LOL. That would be my odds. That's exactly what it would say next to my name. So, yeah, no, absolutely not. I'm just there to drive the cart and pour the drinks. I'm good to go.
There you go, the ultimate caddy, Joe Ranieri here. Number 2, hour number 2, absolutely fantastic, action-packed. And, boy, I wish I could just talk about Andre Iguodala for the entire hour number 2 and say how disgraceful it is that his jersey's in the rafters. But we won't do that, Joe. We have so many other things that we got to get to. And, again, as we showed on the screen, Joe, that is not AI right there. Like, we might as well put AI and just, like instead of Andre, there's Joe, and then here comes the name Ranieri and the number 9, you know. By the way, how many shows have you done on the network, Joe? Do we hang a banner here? I'm sure you're probably way up there in the whole hierarchy of doing as many shows as possible. Could we get a banner for you on the network?
Listen, I'm thinking, Donnie, it's a pulse is pretty much what you need now to get a banner in the rafters with some of these organizations. It's like, well, we don't have anybody to dedicate a night to, so let's just see who can we get. And boy, they got Iguodala, who, don't get me wrong, it was a big reason as to why they happened to win a championship there, but worthy of his jersey in a rafter, Donnie? Really? Oof.
Retired ceremony for Iguodala. By the way, did I miss the retirement ceremony for Joe Lisi at the SportsGrid Network? It's maybe another topic for another day at this point. But all good at this point, Joe. Let's get to the hot topics that the people need to know. By the way, get a video here. Ryan Poles, general manager of the Chicago Bears, talking about DEI here, Joe. What's this about? Let's see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think it is a little strange. I mean, at the end of the day, you should want to develop your staff regardless of the color of their skin. I think that's important. I think we take a lot of pride with the Bears on how we have our setup, and I take a lot of pride in that. So to be compensated for that's a little strange. I mean, I saw the Chiefs get a pick because of me, and then I watched that player go and play. It's just a little odd. But at the end of the day, if they think that's what's best to help incentivize, then that's what they wanted to do. But at the end of the day, like I said, that's not the purpose of why we develop our staff. But if that's the rule they have in place, then I think it's very clear in the situation on what should happen. But we'll see what they think.
Developing your staff based on the color of their skin doesn't seem like a great remedy here for getting the best out of your product here. And Ryan Poles basically saying, look, I'm not here because of the EEI. I'm here because I'm an actual good general manager, and that's what we should be doing it on.
So what was he saying here at the Bears, it's the best person, most qualified person for the job? Is that what he was talking about? That's okay. Well, there you go then. At least he's out in front of it, Donnie. That's what he sounds like the Bears stand for, is just give me people who can actually do the job and do it right.
Isn't that crazy? All those thought process go through like, hey, man, owners don't want that. They just want to sabotage their organization to hire their friends. No, people actually want to win here. And it's great for an organization to say like, hey, you hired this guy. Why'd you hire him? Because he's the best man for the job. Bang! Makes perfect sense here as we move over to the early lineup and Charles Bediako. Maybe he's not the best man for the job for Alabama to be their center. Why? Because he's a professional basketball player masquerading as a collegiate athlete. And finally, judges are saying, yeah, this ain't happening, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's nice that he applied. And, apparently I'm sure there are a few attorneys that keep making an awful lot of money on these appeal cases here, but ultimately common sense wins out, Donnie. You can't start in college, leave college to turn pro, and then come back to college. That's not how it works.
By the way, Connor Hellebuck, fantastic tournament here. Great goalie in the NHL. He gets the Medal of Freedom, Joe. But how tall is this guy? Why every time I see him here, is the hockey player short around him, or he's 6'9"? What is the deal here with Hellebuck?
Oh, he's huge. He's absolutely huge. You saw it last night too. I mean, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Not a lot of spots to get the puck by him there, but great job by him and well deserved to get recognized, because he is the only reason, Donnie, that we ended up getting gold. Yeah,
6'4", very dude. Not that Dominic Hasek, like little guy who's very nimble in the crease. This man stands on his head for real. Tree trunk there in the crease gave us the gold medal here for Team USA. I'm looking forward to this, Joe. Sometimes I wish football was all year round where they played it here, because the Cleveland Browns spent a ton of money on Deshaun Watson, who quickly disgraced them and got injured, and they basically banished him for a couple years. Now, a new regime comes to town in Cleveland, and we're led to believe that there's a chance that he could be their starting quarterback. Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, toe-to-toe, Joe.
Yeah, train wreck coming. Donnie. And I hope you listen. If you can't beat out Deshaun Watson, Shedeur, I think the chances of your NFL career continuing are probably slim to none. So I certainly hope, for Shedeur's sake, that's the only competition he's got to beat out, because he should be the starting quarterback then.
The kill to death ratio is very important in Call of Duty. Maybe Kyler Murray working on that this all season, because apparently he might not be working for the Arizona Cardinals anymore. Not a lot of communication with a new regime. That doesn't sound too promising for him staying in the Arizona uniform there.
Well, listen, they overpaid him to begin with. You remember he threw that temper tantrum, took the Cardinals logo off his social media. Next thing you know, they gave him a contract that now they're stuck behind for at least one more year. But it appears like maybe they're just willing to say, yeah, enough's enough. We'll take the hit, but we're moving on here.
By the way, every few weeks, if I'm a pro athlete, just to have fun, like I just scrub like he took the Cardinals out of his Instagram there. Oh, no. And 2 weeks later, you take it out of your Twitter account. Oh, no. Does he want out at this point? People just follow type of that nonsense here. But the only thing that really matters is, hey, when's the last time we talked to your quarterback? Well, actually, I haven't yet. Yeah, it's not a good sign here when we're starting to head into the free agent period, the combine season, where you're trying to shore up your team and who's going to be your quarterback. Not talking to your quarterback doesn't seem like it's certainly a great investment here. How about the UFL? They're investing in new technologies or new rules, per se. 60-yard field goals worth 4 points here. The tush push is going to be banned. Why, I don't know. But as Joe pointed out, now we're number one, a testing ground for the NFL. 4.60 yards. Stop it, Joe. Come on, make it stop.
Yeah, this is all this league is, Donnie. It's just a place that the NFL can try out all these new great ideas to see what sticks. And then, of course, once it's already out there, they can always say, well, it worked wonders in the UFL, Donnie.
By the way, UFL going to 1 foot out of bounds. I mean, heck, why not just like, the NFL rule? It's like, hey, if you're down by contact, you're down. But if you fall down, you can get back up. We don't need all these rule changes. But again, the UFL is going to be out of business in the next year anyway. So who knows if these rules will ever stick anyway. How about the UFC? They're saying, we're bringing the fighters to Mexico, and maybe they got to defend themselves against some cartels out here. But they're going to go ahead as planned with UFC so far.
The show must go on, as they say, Donnie. And yep, the show is going to go on there for the UFC, and actually a couple of big events coming up in the near future there, don't we?
By the way, now is it this weekend? Like, when is this UFC in Mexico? Like, do we have a couple weeks, or is it just actually this weekend?
It's this weekend, I believe. Yes.
Extra security down there. Be on your P's and Q's, UFC. Don't be going around looking for the best taco in town. You might find out something different there. And also, FIFA, they have extra months to get ready for this year. Mexico is a country that loves its soccer. So I got a feeling if there is unrest down there and the cartels going ahead against the government, maybe a peace treaty, Joe, over that month and a half there. We're going to be hosting games here so we can all enjoy some soccer and get out of town and let the fans actually have their enjoyment, not worry about like, hey, can I actually make it to the game?
Yeah, well, we got some time on that one there, but it's, Brandon Moreno is the one that is actually headlining this UFC fight night, and he is from Mexico, so I'm guessing maybe he's got a pretty good opportunity to kind of bring everyone together there for UFC, but FIFA and the World Cup, they got some time to figure everything out there.
It's always interesting, too, how Mexico, the cartels and the government always have that sort of understanding like, hey, where the tourists are, keep out of there. And, do your business here. We'll try to fight you at this point now. But now it's starting to creep into those places where you go on vacation. Also, the big events coming to town. Not going to be a great look. Extra security certainly will be needed. And we'll find it out this weekend with UFC going as planned. And also FIFA coming up with the World Cup in the summer here. More action to come in hour number 2. Why? We're talking Major League Baseball next. You want to hear that? You have like, oh, well, we don't know, we're going to play an arbitration for our top pitcher in schoolboy. He gets the $30 million. You go and get Valdez, who's 32 years old, and you pay 3 years, $115. Now you have a legitimate 1-2 punch and still have Flaherty in that lineup as well. If you're looking at a move singularly that I didn't expect to happen here and loved it, Detroit's move to get Framber Valdez, sensational for me.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Expectations were big for this team coming into this season. They've struggled to live up to them. When you think about the 4 losses for Purdue, they've really felt ugly. Iowa State smashed this team in their building. They dropped the game to UCLA and followed it up by losing at home to Illinois.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on an island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers' record was better, but he's still a James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Baseball, the information you need. We are live in spring training as we wait for the WBC and the start of the Major League Baseball season, which again is March 25th opening night, and away we go. And enjoy this season, because Joe, I was listening yesterday on 94.1 in Philadelphia, and that's WIP, and they had Bryce Harper on live with the morning crew. They're dug in on both sides. And again, maybe you can use this information and it's useless or not, but they asked him straight out, do you expect the next year's Major League Baseball season to start on time? Flat out, no. Didn't even think about it at all. And he used the same terminology, Joe, that I'm using as how you try to assess what's going on. Because we have 3 full years to talk about this already, and nobody's talking about it. So how are you going to get that done in 3 months? Little food for thought, but let's get to some of those hot topics in Major League Baseball. Netflix getting Major League Baseball, Joe. 3 years at $50 million a year. But here it is. The credited ratings equal added credibility for advertisers in year one. Why? Nielsen is going to rate Major League Baseball on Netflix this year. How about that?
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll be the most watched everything, Donnie, right? I mean, those metrics are amazing. Everything is the most watched we've ever seen here now with the way they measure it. So, yeah, I would only expect high ratings, Donnie, of course.
How about high ratings for this? Things have gotten so bad. He used to be like, hey, where can you catch the game? I don't know, Channel 6, Channel 3, Channel 10, or, in Philadelphia, it's cable network with Comcast and Xfinity to watch the Philadelphia Phillies. The Braves are like, we don't have a home, and, we just made Braves Vision. Let's watch everything on Braves Vision this year. Your new home for Braves baseball coming this March.
Yeah, that's it. Teams scrambling. I don't know why they're scrambling now, Donnie, like how they did not see this coming. But, they are scrambling now to try to figure out how to bring local Braves baseball to local fans there on what network and how. So they'll all figure it out when it's all said and done ultimately. But kind of crazy that they all got kind of caught in this spot right now.
Yeah, it is. And also, maybe they had to come up with Braves Vision to help pay Chris Sale because he got a 1-year, $27 million contract extension for 2027 that includes a club option for 2028. Just got to stay healthy, Mr. Sale.
Yeah, please. That would be great. All that entire pitching staff, Donnie, better stay healthy because, boy, they were dropping like flies over last year, even the year prior. So hopefully they can keep these guys healthy and in the rotation, and we'll see what happens from there.
Volpe's shoulder, is it continuing to give him a little bit of an issue here? The Yankees could opt to send Anthony Volpe to Triple-A following his rehab assignment if Jose Caballero continues to perform well. Volpe, again, lightning rod for those fans up there in New York.
Yeah, well, I mean, it gives me pain watching him play a lot of times. So, it would be nice that he can get back there, but I think he's running out of time there in a Yankee uniform there, Donnie. It's put up or shut up time.
I mean, how much can you talk about where he loved Jeter as a kid and he met Jeter as a kid? He always grew up wanting to be Jeter on the Yankees. Plays for you better start to perform on the field and field your position. And by the way, he struggles a little bit in the field. Derek Jeter doesn't really go side to side all that much. Some say maybe the most overrated shortstop defensively in the history of the game. I'm not saying it, Joe. I'm just hearing that out here. Good news for the Rangers on Sebastian Walcott, one of the best prospects in baseball, had an internal brace surgery, not Tommy John, and should be able to hit in games late in the season. An August return is on the table. So not a pitcher, but getting that brace for not Tommy John. What is this going to be like a scenario for Shohei Ohtani?
I don't even know what that is, Donnie. Have we ever seen that before? I don't even either it is or it isn't. I'm not quite sure what. Yeah, what the brace is the answer for everything. Very strange situation there.
Major League Baseball's number one prospect, Connor Griffin, has 2 nukes today, which was yesterday, and might just be the guy to save the Pirates with Paul Skeens. So my question to you, Joe, is how quickly does Connor Griffin turn into a New York Yankee? What's those odds?
Well, yeah, but just as actually probably even better than Paul Skeens at this point here. But and he took deep against a couple of veteran pitchers there as well. And the kid's only 19, and just absolutely crushes the ball, Donnie. So yeah, he'll be on the Yankees sooner rather than later.
Let's go back over the past 10 years for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And let's just say their owner's like, you know what? We don't like free agency, but we sign our own guys. Can you imagine that pitching staff and that lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates and how much damage they could do? But their owner is on record by saying, winning? Come out and enjoy this ballpark. Who cares if we win? Congratulations, Pittsburgh Pirates fans here. And by the way, the Pirates, they will be instrumental in locking out the Major League Baseball Players Union this upcoming season as well, or after the season, I should say. How about this, Joe? We're looking forward to the WBC, even if Tarek Skubal isn't. Here are the current 2026 World Baseball Classic odds here. The Americans, a -115, the odds-on favorite. Japan, +330. Dominican, 4-1. Venezuela, 9-1. Puerto Rico, 16-1. What's up with Columbia, Joe? 80-1. Come on now, Columbia. Jump back up in that pitch.
Yeah, kind of crazy here, right? But listen, could be a very chalky situation in tournament, Donnie, or it could be we might get, who knows, we might get a bomb here that can actually pull off the upsets across the board. I doubt it, because I think the top two teams there are going to be pretty hard to take down when it's all said and done.
They are. And by the way, like USA, Skubal, like if Skubal, answer me this question. Like if Skubal's only going to pitch one game, do you not save him for like the championship game or the knockout stage? Like Skubal's actually going to pick in a round that probably isn't going to matter against a team that's inferior. Why don't we save him? Or does he have his, like, look, I'm coming to town, I'm pitching, I'm leaving town. Is that what it is about?
Pretty much, right? That's kind of what it feels early, because it appears he's got some other things to do. And yet Paul Skeens is like, yeah, I'll pitch twice, whatever you need me to do. Again, we're talking a max of 7 games here, Donnie, right? And Skubal's like, yeah, I'll throw first. And then if they make it to the finals, like, I'll come back. But, yeah, like, you got to be kidding me.
I'll be in the locker room cheering on my boys if they need me. Stop it. You're going to pitch and get on a G4 and get out of town, headed back to Tiger Town. We don't need to see that nonsense here. Pitch in the final then in those games that actually mean something here. But I do think Team USA is the best team on paper, but sometimes it doesn't play out that way, Joe. And also, we're not talking about a Team USA that's played 75 Major League Baseball games and take a break where everybody's in rhythm. You have to remind yourselves, too, Joe, they're coming out of spring training or barely getting any spring training action and going up against some of the best athletes and pitchers where you usually like that ramp-up period. I'm interested to see how good the pitchers are versus the batters, Joe.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking very forward to seeing it. I think it's we're going to learn a little something here across the board about what the future will look like. That's for sure.
How about the future looking at the Kalshi and Poly market action here, which includes Max Crosby, A.J. Brown, NFL talk. Yep, we got you covered right here on a Wednesday. We'll be back right after this short break. You have like, oh, well, we don't know, we're going to play an arbitration for our top pitcher in Skubal. He gets the $30 million. You go and get Valdez, who's 32 years old, and you pay him 3 years, $115. Now you have a legitimate 1-2 punch and still have Flaherty in that lineup as well. If you're looking at a move singularly that I didn't expect to happen here and loved it, Detroit's move to get Framber Valdez, sensational for me.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Expectations were big for this team coming into this season. They've struggled to live up to them. When you think about the 4 losses for Purdue, they've really felt ugly. Iowa State smashed this team in their building. They dropped the game to UCLA and followed it up by losing at home to Illinois.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it. Yeah. Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on an island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers' record was better, but he's still at James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Predictive marketplaces, Joe, we love them. Kalshi and also Poly Market, investing in interesting stuff where maybe you can't find this, Joe, on FanDuel and or DraftKings, Bet365, or some of those other legal sports books out here. But the questions in the offseason continue to arise. And we saw at the end of last year, The Vegas Raiders saying, you know what, Max Crosby, we're trying to tank for draft position here. We're going to shut you down. And Max Crosby's like, I don't want to be shut down. I want to play. My job is to be the best defensive end in this league, and you pay me to play on a week-to-week basis. And they go, we don't care. We own your rights. We're going to shut you down. So now a lot of offseason talk. Will Max Crosby still be a Vegas Raider, or will he be on the move? If you look at Kalshi right now, a 66% chance he stays with Vegas or retires. Coming in second here, the Cincinnati Bengals at 31%. The Bengals want to take on that contract here, Joe? I don't buy it. And it's hard to move a guy that just got paid all that money, too. Where are we going with this Max Crosby thing?
I don't understand Cincinnati. Like, you have a guy called Trey Hendrickson that's just as good.
Yeah.
If you're going to take on that, pay him. I just do not understand what's going on with that. Listen, the new regime coming in with the Raiders there. The head coach, the first guy that he met with there, as soon as he ends up, winning the Super Bowl there, Kubiak, the first person he wanted to meet with Max Crosby. So we'll see how this goes, but I think a line has been drawn in the sand here, and you're either going to have to pay this guy or you're going to have to figure out a way to get him out of Dodge, and then who's going to trade for him? I think the suitors, there are a ton of them, Donnie. I just don't see Cincinnati being one of them.
And it's hard, too, because you saw the Micah Parsons deal, so that framework will be around there. Micah Parsons is a better player than Max Crosby, even though Micah Parsons ended up getting injured there with Green Bay. But if he wasn't, now Max, like, what do you want, a first and a third? And then also, you're probably going to have to give him a new contract, which he already has a massive contract at this point. So it's not just like apples to apples. Like, hey, we'd all love that Max Crosby. A lot of compensation given up in the way of draft and a lot of compensation coming back to Max Crosby here. We'll see what works. The one thing where it's not going to equate to wins or losses in Vegas, and I always thought when he re-signed back, it's like, you're just signing yourself up to make a lot of money and just have a bad football team. We'll see if it goes differently in that point here. Now, another player that we're going to talk about in the NFL, which last year, not so happy, reading books on the sideline here, didn't get the ball enough. That's A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, he comes in here. His next team, the Philadelphia Eagles, or retires, it's listed at 69%. The highest team behind him is the New England Patriots. We always hear there's smoke, there's fire. Vrabel loved him in Tennessee, was furious when they traded him away to Philadelphia, now might want him back. But also, the same way we talk about Max Crosby, sure, teams would like to have A.J. Brown. If A.J. wasn't happy in the Eagles, maybe they trade him for a first-round pick. But also the Eagles continue to be in the window of a Super Bowl championship where they might be able to win it. Take a $40+ million cap hit, lose a player, not get equal compensation back. I don't know if he moves. I think he stays in Philadelphia, Joe, and I'd be willing to invest into the yes, which is trading at 67 cents here. A $100 wager pays back $150. I don't think he's leaving, not because he doesn't want to or the Eagles want to move on, Joe, but just for the simple fact is they can't actually afford to have him move on.
Yeah, and they've been very non-committal on him returning.
Yeah.
They're not guaranteeing that he is coming back or they're not letting him go or anything along those lines. So, Howie Roseman and company there, we've heard about trade rumors now for how long, Donnie, right? So, but he's signed through 2029, $96 million extension in 2024. Again, there's only a handful of teams that would be willing to take on that kind or can take on that kind of commitment here. But Philadelphia is very non-committal about bringing him back here, which is crazy.
Which is actually the complaint now that you're hearing, because they're asking, the combine's out here. Hey, Nick Sirianni, what do you think? Well, we can't guarantee he's back on the roster. You can actually guarantee it even if you don't mean it, just to try to quell those rumors in hopes that he does come back. So when you hear them saying, well, we can't guarantee anything, well, ask him about Jalen Hurts. Hey, is Jalen Hurts going to be on your roster next year? Of course he is. They're starting. Okay, but you can't guarantee other players will be back on that roster. Make it make sense? Sometimes it doesn't here. NBA MVP on Polymarket here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trading at a 56% chance, followed by Jokic and Cade Cunningham at 16%. You saw that chart, Joe, that was out yesterday. Expectations are SGA, Nikola Jokic won't have enough games under their belt to actually qualify, so maybe you should go with Cade Cunningham. But trust me, when you're trying to win an MVP, you'll play extra games down the stretch if you can for guys like SGA and Jokic. Interesting finish to the season, Joe. Who for you should be the NBA MVP that you want to invest your money in?
I think the guy that stands to benefit from all of it is Cade Cunningham. I think that a lot of these other guys may not have enough games under the belt to qualify for it. He is going to, without a doubt. So wouldn't shock me at all if Cade Cunningham ends up pulling this one out.
NBA MVP at this point, Victor Wembanyama only trading at 4%. And again, it's one of those sports where, Joe, it's not sometimes what you're doing on the court, it's how many games that you play. Hey, look at that, man. The best player is SGA. Oh, no, only played 64 games and isn't actually eligible. That could trip you up in the end. More NFL news and notes coming up next right here on a Wednesday edition of The Early Line next.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Well, I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here, I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
NFL news and notes here, spending some time on a Wednesday morning getting you caught up on all the latest here. And one of those stories that continues to have some twists and turns is the Chicago Bears, who seemingly like headed to Indiana, getting a great deal from the state government of Indiana as opposed to staying in Chicago and Illinois. Well, now it turns out Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says a broad agreement is in place for the Bears for a new stadium in Arlington Heights, which is outside of the city, but keeps them in Illinois. But understand this, too. The reason why we got to this point, Joe, if you remember, they bought the old racetrack at Arlington Heights. Like, okay, we're going to buy this, and eventually we're going to invest in it, and hopefully we can make a deal that's profitable for everybody, and we'll stay in Illinois. And then what did the state of Illinois do immediately in Arlington Heights once they bought that property? They raised that property tax to astronomical heights, more than any other state would have done there for a football team. That's where the fight begins. But it looks like now Illinois bending back towards the Bears' way, Joe.
Donnie, I got to tell you, the one thing that amazes me across the board with this story is that all of this, and people need to remember it, all of this could have been, but this did not happen in a vacuum and overnight. Like, I do not understand why it is that people are somehow shocked that the team with all the leverage, the professional sports team with all the leverage, Donnie, figured out a way to get somebody else to pony up, to put the pressure on what, should have been a done deal, Donnie. How long ago? This is, we've been talking about this for 3 years, and all they did is said, oh, okay, we'll just go to Indiana, we'll get them to approve it, and then we'll come back and see, are you ready to pay now? And shockingly, it looks like they have figured out a way to come up with enough money to get him the stadium and keep him in the state. Unbelievable.
Yeah, like, hey, by the way, guys, you can actually negotiate that tax rate that we put in that was so ridiculous and designed to hold you hostage here at this point. What an unbelievable negotiation tactic here that we're seeing. But we'll see if the Chicago Bears do stay in the state of Illinois. How about a guy that's not going to be staying in the the state of Georgia? You know who that is? That's Kirk Cousins. They signed Kirk Cousins and drafted Michael Penix, and everybody's like, this is the stupidest thing you can ever do. And Atlanta was like, no, it's not. It's very smart. Years later, the people were proven correct. One of the stupidest deals you could possibly do. All that money, can't even trade the guy. Expected to be out the door for the new league year.
Well, because the geniuses on the former regime thought it'd be great to, let's sign him and, and get a proven winner here. Oh, and then in the first draft, let's go ahead and get his replacement. So now we can just put pressure on everybody. And P.S., guess who ends up winning out here? It's Kirk Cousins. And by the way, when Penix Jr. gets hurt again for the 90th, the guy has had nothing but injury concerns through 5 years of college and now a couple of years in the NFL. And guess the team was much better with Kirk Cousins under center than it was Penix. So, they got to figure it out. He's going to land with somebody, Donnie. The question is who?
I mean, Cousins was furious when it went down. Nobody thought it made sense. I remember the Atlanta general manager actually coming out and saying, like, this is actually a good option. If Michael Penix doesn't ever play, it means Kirk Cousins is good, which means you probably could have had a top-flight wide receiver or cornerback drafted instead of Michael Penix. But, hey, if it doesn't work out with Kirk, we have Michael Penix. That means you wasted hundreds of millions of dollars on a bad quarterback pick. It was unbelievable to start. And it's amazing that professionals at their job make decisions like that, where just the casual fan watching goes, yeah, that seems pretty stupid here. And, of course, it turns out that it was really stupid. But you're right about one thing. When you want to make money, you look towards Kirk Cousins here. $321 million made on the field. Not off the field combined, on the field for Kirk Cousins. That's impressive from him and also his agent.
And he's been doing it. And I mean, how many contracts now, Donnie, right? I mean, comes out. He's got to be a backup out of college, Donnie, and then he just turns that into year after year, contract after contract. That is a huge amount of money for a guy that, for the most part, everyone thought was nothing more than a backup quarterback, and yet $350 million plus later. Look at him now, unreal.
You like that? You like that? Yeah, he likes that in his bank account. So does an accountant here. I'll tell you where they're not liking their quarterback play. That's up in Minnesota, where the Vikings now will be, quote, exploring every option at quarterback here. I thought McCarthy was the greatest lead and the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. And now it looks like got his general manager fired. Could his coach be on the way next? Or his coach going like, hey, man, I never wanted to draft this kid to begin with. But all options on the table when I thought they already had their franchise guy.
Yeah, another GM that suddenly finds himself unemployed that pulled that trigger. Wouldn't sign Sam Darnold, but thought that this was going to be. And by the way, wanted to move on from Kirk Cousins. Didn't want to. Yeah, well, here you go. Back to the drawing board. Could Kirk Cousins be coming back home to Minnesota? Is interesting too.
Wow, what a return here at this point. Also, could Nick Sirianni, by saying he can't make promises to A.J. Brown, be sending him to the New England Patriots for a reunion with his old coach, Mike Vrabel? How about this quote? Will A.J. be here next season? I can't guarantee how anything is going to play in the next season. I'm thinking I'm going to be the coach next season, but you can't guarantee anything past tomorrow. You know, you avoid this stuff. We love A.J. Great locker room guy, man. He's going to have a huge season right here in this uniform, even if you don't believe it here. Unbelievable, Joe.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it, Donnie? But listen, somebody's going to get him. You know what I mean? And if he has his way, it could very well be at New England when it's all said and done, because Vrabel seems to be the only guy that actually understood him, communicated with him. Never had a problem like he's had with everybody else, Donnie, after being traded away from Tennessee.
Let's hear from Howie Roseman on the Eagles offseason. Let's go, Howie.
Yeah, I think you got to go back to how you want to build the team first and foremost. You know, what is your priorities in building the team? Because when we have this many players coming up for second contracts on their rookie deals, it's going to be hard for us to keep all of them. The good news is we have a compensatory system where we can get some draft picks back in the future for some of these guys who've meant so much to us if we can't sign everyone. But we got to make priorities, and you can't only do that by playing favorites. You got to also do it by your vision of how you build the team. And so we'll try to be pretty clear about our vision to the extent that we can and get those guys back and continue to build on top of that.
There's Howie making moves out here in these streets, Joe. And also, you got to figure out where you're going to move in the future. The Eagles don't know if they can sign everybody, which there is a salary cap in the NFL. You get the compensatory picks back. But how about this? A guy that we don't expect to be a free agent, which we thought might have been a free agent, Kyle Pitts of those Atlanta Falcons, strapping on there. Hey, man, franchise tag for you. It looks like 1 year, $15 million at worst case for Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, kind of crazy, right? Wasn't he, didn't we want to trade him, or he didn't live up to the hype, or maybe the coaching staff just wasn't any good here in getting the maximum from him. So hopefully new regime, new look, lock him in there. And it's not like the guy doesn't have the talent, Donnie, right? He's worth the money if they use him correctly and he can stay on the field. So I agree. I wouldn't want him playing for, somebody else in that division. That's for sure.
How about John Harbaugh? Not Jim Harbaugh, actually wearing some Giants colors here. Let's check it out. What's got going on, John?
Definitely a different color pattern, no doubt about it. That's been good. I've kind of enjoyed that, appreciate that. I was going to take this off. You can see the logo a little better, right? That's a good thing. So it's exciting. It's fun. I really I feel energized. Always do. Whenever you come to Indy, you feel energized. I mean, you get a chance to get around. You see the players. You have the interviews. You see the coaches. You see the GMs. You kind of size up your competition. I mean, let's be honest. It's competitive. And you get a chance to kind of take a look at who's doing what and how they're trying to do it. So that never changes. The fact that it's with the Giants now instead of the Ravens is what it is. And I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to represent the New York Giants, and we're just really going to work, and that's really what we're doing.
Is he taking a shot at Lamar Jackson, Joe? Did he get that out of there like he's just happy to be here, which means I don't have to deal with Lamar anymore?
Yeah, pretty much, or any of the other aggravation that comes along with it. But yes, I think, listen, he should be energized, right? New team, new quarterback, a lot of talent there, and opportunities to get. I'll add to that here with a top 5, top 6 draft pick here. They got some options here, the Giants.
By the way, one quick story to fit in, too. 12-time Pro Bowler Trent Williams having contract negotiations, but they're struggling to bridge the gap on what that dollar should be. Hey, look at that, Joe. When you sign a quarterback to $50+ million, it turns out you can't afford everybody. Imagine if they lost Trent Williams, just had to release him. Tough scene, Joe. Let's get to some NBA action next. The coach joins us right here.
Tanking is hurting the NBA right now too, and what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago. How much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
I actually, and I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here. I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Joe, we talk deadlines a lot here on the show. Most notably, the NBA season. They're going to play fine. They just signed a huge deal regardless if those ratings are good or bad. They're going to get paid here. But also, we take a look at Major League Baseball. They're headed for Armageddon December 1st, 2026. That's when their CBA will expire. And I don't think there's going to be a season next year, at least certainly a season that's going to be played at a full 162 games. But the question now coming up rapidly is, what will the WNBA do? Alexa Philippou tweeted out yesterday. The WNBA told the WNBPA and its teams today that a term sheet for a new CBA ought to be completed by March 10th for the 2026 schedule to not be impacted. That's 2 weeks from basically 2 days ago, Joe. The time is ticking. So my question to you is, will there be a CBA intact where we don't miss any games in the WNBA?
Nope. I can't see it happening, Donnie. I really can't. And again, we're getting to the point of leverage, right? So the players, that union, they're all going to have to figure out, so what means more? You going to hold the line? Is that what you're going to do? And they already gave you the ultimatum, right? Either we get something done by this date or the season ain't starting and then we're losing games. So I think this is far from over yet at this point.
Yeah, we're going to be missing games, but how about this? You flip it over to the predictive markets that you know we love. And by the way, PME is a show. Catch us this weekend once again, providing you all those hot topics that you need, myself and Joe Ranieri. But also, will at least one game, we're not even asking for a full season, Joe, will one game be played in the pro women's basketball season, which is the WNBA? Trading at a 78% chance. Yes is actually 82 cents. No is 24 cents. Now, for me, we are going to have games missed and impacted here because both sides are going to dig in. But no league ever, Joe, wants to miss an entire season because then you miss the season. They don't even start negotiation till the next season begins again because there's no pressure at that point. I actually do think we'll have at least one WNBA game played this season. Now, granted, one is funny. Can you imagine, Joe? We're going to have one game and then hit the playoffs here, but there will be one game played. I do believe that. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking not.
Wow.
I'm thinking it's, I don't think this is going to be a negotiation that's going to go well at all. I think that we are very much in the possibility in a realm of there not being a season at all. And that would probably be best for the owners since that's probably the only way that they'll make any money is having an opportunity to be able to be like, all right, so we don't have to write these checks. We're good to go. I'm sick of losing money. It's very hard to bank on the fact of a losing business, Donnie, that has been losing forever somehow is going to cave in just to have games that don't make them any money. I don't get it. The whole thing is head scratching.
By the way, here's an interesting tweet from Yahoo Sports. The WNBA generated enough revenue in 2025 to prompt revenue sharing with its players for the first time in history. All 13 WNBA teams will receive a total of $8 million to disperse amongst its players there. So let's just say, what do you have, Joe? I don't know, 12. Let's go $8 million, and we will divide that by 12. So an average of around $666,000 per player. But they want more than that, which means if they got paid more than that, then the teams would be unprofitable once again. That's what they're trying to figure out right now. Where's that profitability and sustainability? And also, oh, yeah, we finally made money this year after, 35 years of getting beat over the head and bleeding cash?
Exactly it. And at the minute they have any success, thanks to two people, Donnie, two players, maybe 3 at tops, is the reason why you made that kind of money and you were that profitable here. So the sustainability, I'm sorry, the owners know it, likely not there, at least not as far as I can see. So them giving more or, giving them what they want at this point, I just don't see it happening.
It's an interesting thing because, the way to profitability, which, again, they're not owners just selling out and going bankrupt for their teams, right? So there is a chance where they now say, finally, we're here. But the question is, how much can we give these players before we actually go bankrupt, and how can we grow this thing? And understand that Joe and I have talked about this ad nauseum over the past year. Oh, WNBA ratings, everybody's ratings were up. Let's just see this next year, how they settle in. And also, this league is built on one player and one player alone. It's Caitlin Clark. If she's healthy and in prime time, you are going to get ratings. And ratings, Joe, are how you make money.
That's correct. But again, sustainability is the big question, right? Congratulations. You got an $8 million windfall thanks to one player. But she missed a lot of games, though, eventually, though, Donnie, you know, ended up getting hurt and injuries are a part. So how do you sustain it moving forward if she's not available like she wasn't last year? Because we saw what ticket prices did when she wasn't available.
Let's bring in the coach and talk a little WNBA action. It might not be on the court. We just talked about the Kalshi marketplace, coach. The predictive markets here, they have a question. Will at least one game be played in the WNBA this year? A $100 investment pays back $122. What are we thinking, coach, about the WNBA and the chances of them starting on time or even playing this year?
Guys, I don't know about starting on time. You know, this deadline coming up March the 10th, it seems like the players have kind of galvanized themselves. You've even seen Brianna Stewart, who is, I think, vice president of the Players Association, decide to go play overseas. That told me that there's going to be problems here as some of the star players are already looking elsewhere. Listen, when it comes down to it is this. They need each other. They actually, for the first time in 25 years, they have momentum. They have one of the biggest superstars in the world in Caitlin Clark. They have Paige Beckers. They have young players coming down the line like Hidalgo, Juju Watkins, AZ Fudd. This is not the time to screw this up. Now, they're going to ask for a bigger percentage. You even see ESPN now switching their coverage to Sunday night, getting off of Sunday Night Baseball to go towards WNBA and the National Women's Soccer League. So there's momentum here. It's funny. I saw Kathy Engelbert at the Villanova game on Saturday. I almost screamed at her, but I didn't want to get thrown out, so I stayed out.
Coach, you bring up such a great point, too, because momentum is always king in these sports. You finally had a season where the ratings are up, and even Caitlin Clark was injured, expected to be healthy, and now ESPN is basically saying, we lost baseball. We'll give it to the WNBA, a chance to actually grow the game. You stunt the growth this year, Coach, at a time where you're starting to gain momentum. You might never get it back with the WNBA.
If you think about the baseball lockout of 1995,
correct.
If it wasn't for that home run chase with McGuire and Sosa, they may have never recovered. WNBA doesn't have that luxury. They got to get a deal done and get it done quick.
I agree, Coach. And again, time is of the essence here. Pressure purse pipes here. They'll probably miss some games, but they can't get wiped out on the season with these opportunities here. Thanks for joining us this morning, Coach. One stipend to go, and we'll close it down in style next.
Tanking is hurting the NBA right now too, and what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
I actually, and I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here. I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Final segment of the day. We had to bring the coach back in. There's too many good topics to talk about here. And Coach, if you know anything about him, he loves himself some Big East action. We saw this already this season, St. John's and Connecticut. We got a rematch once again tonight. Revenge is on the mind of Connecticut. Coach, they're a 4.5-point favorite right now in the marketplace and a 146.5. What are we thinking tonight? St. John's, Connecticut, big time.
Big time matchup here. Listen, St. John's, guys, is playing as well as anybody in the country. Zuby Ejiofor has been an absolute monster. Dylan Mitchell's really come on strong, and Bryce Hopkins starting to play better. It's amazing how St. John's, right before that fight happened, was losing to Providence, and now they look like a Final Four team ever since. Guys, this matchup is so razor thin. If you look at Ken Palm, number 2 versus number 3, and when St. John's has the ball on offensive efficiency. Number 1 versus number 1 when Connecticut has the ball. These teams are literally like 1 and 2 defensively in every metric. I think Dan Hurley makes this a street fight. Now, the game is not on campus. It's in Hartford. So you still should have a decent St. John's contingent getting up there. Good luck getting tickets if you're trying to get there. Guys, I think the under, and I'll say this, if St. John's finds a way to pull this off, to sweep the series, and then you have MSG hosting the Big East tournament, guys, you start moving St. John's up seed lines. They're probably a 4. They win today, they're probably being a 3. They can find their way up to the 2 line by the time Selection Sunday comes in about 3 weeks.
Sounds good, Coach. Let's take you through what we do to end the show here. And we always like to reach out to the public on our Fade the Public poll. Here it comes. Coach, we asked one question to the public today, and that was, should Charles Bediako be allowed to play college basketball this season? 3 responses were given. I don't see why not. No, it's not fair, and it doesn't matter to me. 1 vote's getting almost 80%, Coach. No, it's not fair. What do you think?
I mean, after Bediako basically had to get a University of Alabama judge to get him a temporary injunction to play the first time, tells you all you need to know. At the end of the day, we know why Nate Oates wants him, because they don't play no damn defense and they need some kind of rim protector at the rim. Simply put, I'm 49 years old, almost 50, and you know what? If Bediako can come back, I can come back. I got about 3 or 4 minutes in me that I could get about 5,000, maybe a bucket. Joe Ranieri's got 3 years up. Donnie, you were a football guy. You got 4. Hey, let's all come back and play. Why don't we?
What do you say, Coach? All 3 of us show up to Monmouth and say, you know what, you're in a new conference. Let's get after it, Joe. We could play in that conference, huh?
I don't know. I mean, my boy King Bryce is a little, that's my guy, but he's a little nutty. I don't know if we can handle him. I couldn't handle enough friends with him. I don't know if we can all handle him playing for him.
No. All right, we need some adjustments here made to the show, Coach. You know, we're going to show you next our best bets. And I want your feedback on these best bets. It's bye. Joe's going college basketball tonight, Coach. Let's see, Joe. What is it?
If it ain't broke, let's not fix it, people. There's one team I trust more than the other tonight, and that is the number 7 Florida Gators on the road against the Texas Longhorns. I mean, let's face it, ever since that loss to Auburn at home, they have basically been going scorched earth, coming off of a 94-75 win against Ole Miss. They win on the road. They win at home. They are really starting to round into form like they did a year ago when they made the run to being a national champion. Sorry, Sean Miller, your team fouls too much, can't be trusted offensively. This feels like another blowout coming tonight. 6.5 feels like a gift. I will lay it with Florida on the road.
What do you think, Coach? What are we thinking about this tonight?
Absolutely love it. You're right, Joe. About 1 year ago, they made this run. It's completely different. That front court of Howe, Chidalou, and Condon, good luck getting a rebound on those guys. They win by 10+ tonight.
How about that? Hey, Coach, take a look at this. In the NBA, I'm known to fade teams here and use some bad basketball teams to my advantage. The Cleveland Cavaliers coming in all high and mighty. They're going to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. They're basically playing for ping pong balls at this point. That line opened up 9 overnight. It now sits at 8.5. Coach, only 30% of the tickets, though, coming in on the Milwaukee Bucks. Hold your nose tonight. I'm taking the Bucks that they don't lose by double digits at home. Got to lay down with the fleas to get the chicken, Coach. What are you thinking tonight?
Second leg of a back-to-back big win by Cleveland. Knicks are proven to be a fraud right now. I'll take the points. Milwaukee guys have been playing better since the All-Star break. take the points at 8.5. I agree with you guys. Well done. Well done.
Look at that. College basketball. NBA is the coach here talking WNBA. Before you know it, we'll have Joe Ranieri and Coach Young here talking about those Jets next year and Aaron Glenn and who their quarterback's going to be and all that fun. That's what we do. It's a Hump Day Wednesday on the Sports Grid Era. Coach, end the show with a jump shot. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Oh, I think he made it.